It's your body. You rock it, empower it, and you take care of it. CSU Health Network is here to answer your questions. Welcome to the CSU Health Chat. CSU Health Chat is a program paid for by the CSU Health Network. All content is controlled by the CSU Health Network.
Hello and welcome to another installment of the CSU Health Chat. I'm Matt Freeman and I'm glad to be joined again by Dr. Mark Benn and Pam McCracken from the CSU Health Network. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, great to have you. Our topic today affects nearly 21 million people. 1 in 10 American adults suffer from what can be a very debilitating disease, depression. So guys, I guess my first question is, when is someone depressed? What are the symptoms? How do they know that they're suffering from depression?
I think sometimes we're splitting hairs on this because all of us get blue sometimes, and the difference between being blue and being sad and depression is pretty different. One, I think, is a life-threatening illness. Another is a pretty common effect of living life.
Yeah, I mean, sort of like up and down. The one thing that I look at that makes it different is that maybe for you and I, something happens in our lives and we're feeling a little sad, we're feeling a little blue. But we're able to, after a couple days, sort of pull ourselves out of it, get back on with the daily tasks of living, getting to class, eating, going to work, whatever. And someone that is more depressed, that we're worried about, those symptoms don't get better. They don't pick themselves up in a couple days. That tends to wear them down. And I know we look at if that kind of lasts, those symptoms are lasting for 2 weeks or more, we want to see them. We want to have them come in. We want to talk to them. For me, 2 weeks almost seems like a long time. I can't imagine feeling that awful. If you can imagine how the worst time in your life and how depressed and sad you may have been, to have that be something every day for 2 weeks. So for us at the Health Network, and I can't really speak for Mark, gosh, you know what? To me, it's like even if it's 3 or 4 days or whatever, come in. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on.
I think every health professional, mental health professional, has certain questions that they use to assess whether or not somebody's really depressed. And I have my special one, and my special one is, do you have trouble enjoying activities that are typically pleasurable to you? If there's an activity that you always like, and all of a sudden you don't like it for 2 weeks or, certainly more than that. Some people a whole lifetime, they have activities, but they never quite enjoy things the way their friends seem to or their peers seem to. I think that's a classic sign for me of depression. There are many other symptoms, sad and blue, eating too much, eating too little, sleeping too much, sleeping too little. I mean, sometimes the symptoms are two opposite sides of a coin. So I think, like Pam's saying, sit down and talk with someone if it's lasting a very long time for you.
Right. And some of the things we do talk about are, like Mark said, the sleeping. What's going on with that? Is it too much? Are you having trouble getting to sleep? Are you having, once you are asleep, is it restless and then you want to, sleep all day? Are you losing, your motivation for doing stuff that, like Mark said, would normally be pleasurable to you, whatever that is? I think sometimes, too, we see people pull away from their friends, family, and their maybe intimate relationships. So maybe they were, engaged in a sexual relationship and, now they're really not so interested in that anymore. Food, too, is that we hear about that comfort food. You might really want to raid that refrigerator, or you might not want to eat anything at all. And it doesn't even necessarily, I don't think, have to be the extremes, but there's that change in behavior and, isolating yourself from people. And just, I always sometimes say, those commercials on television where they show those depressed people and they don't even want to walk their dog. It's kind of like that.
Wow. And college seems like a uniquely vulnerable time. People are just growing up and finding things and, just getting, smacked all the time with different things that they didn't know, and I didn't know how to do this and that, and, the pressure of school I know can add to things.
Absolutely.
If you have a roommate or a buddy, what are the best signs? I know we've talked about eating and stuff, but is it just sleeping a lot, doing poor in your classes?
It'd be really nice to be able to pinpoint one thing, and as we're saying here, as I listen to you run the list of all the things we would assess, any one of us at any time have some of those symptoms. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you, I'm like, oh God, am I depressed?
I didn't sleep very good last night. Man, I raided that refrigerator.
I haven't been eating well. But the idea here is that, and what you said, Pam, at the end there, is that it's a change. And the point I hear you throwing at me, Matt, is what do we do when we watch our friends? Yeah. Do we have each other's back? I think all of us are looking for someone to have our back, and it's pretty critical when you go away to college, especially if you're going away alone, to find somebody new who will know you well enough to know when you're changing in your behavior and your mood. This is a life-threatening illness. I will not take this illness lightly. When I get a depressed person in my office, often they'll say, oh, I just need to try harder. Well, yeah, but if your serotonin level is way lower than mine, chances are you can try all you want, just like I try to be tall, and I can't be. I'm a short man. I'd love to be tall. Can't do it. Depression's a lot like that. And so people need to find somebody who they can get to know, have their back, and help them assess or live life with them so they can say, hey, dude, you seem a little low this week. Are you okay?
And I think that's a challenge on a college campus, is being able to have people that do know you well or can recognize those signs and symptoms and not look at it as, oh, something else is happening, I'm okay, they're probably okay, they'll just get through this. Because we are new here and we don't know that many people, and even if we do bring friends from high school, other places, they may not know us the way that, a brother, a mother, a whatever would know us. So it's critical, and I think that's, it's important on our campus, not just for students to recognize signs and symptoms of depression and anxiety, but faculty and staff, because I think we almost have a responsibility to reach out and to get students into getting help if they need it. And I think that's the other key, is that whole stigma. That whole, well, it's, I should be able to pull myself up. I should be able to be okay. So I'm a little down. Isn't that what happens to everybody? And it's like, you know what? You don't have to be embarrassed about going out and talking to someone about this. That's what we're here for.